my friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica, and in today's video I am bringing you another episode of No Makeup and Chill, the Barefaced Chronicles. Now if you've been here for a while, you'll understand the meaning behind this series, but if you're new here, I'll just briefly explain that I am now 50 years old, and I'm just kind of on this journey to really accept myself for myself and the way that my aging face looks without any makeup on it at all. Now, of course, I love makeup, so this channel is primarily focusing on that. But like I said, I just really want to embrace who I am without any makeup on and encourage you guys to do the same thing, no matter how old you are. And I feel like if I'm going to encourage myself and you to do this, then it makes sense for me to film some videos here where I'm not wearing any makeup, right? And also, I'm a little lazy and I don't always want to get everything together and organized for a makeup look video. So I just thought this would be a really cool series to put together on my channel, to just be my lazy self, not put any makeup on, not have any makeup on, and just sit and chill and relax and chat with you guys. Now, I've done mostly makeup focused stuff in this series, and this is another one of those types of videos. I wasn't really sure what to do for this particular episode. So when I was at work today on my lunch hour, I texted my daughter, I never know exactly how I'm supposed to say that. And I said, sis, I need some help coming up with a video idea. What do you suggest? And she said, what about like your top fall palettes or your favorite fall color stories in your collection? And I was like, good idea. Now, I usually always do that for every season of the year. I'll pick 10 to 20 palettes out of my collection and share them with you guys. And I don't ever really base my looks on the seasons. I mean, sometimes I will, but most often I'll just use whatever palette I want, no matter what time of year it is. But I do know that a lot of you watching love to base your looks on the various seasons. And I just think it's really fun to look through my collection and see what I can find that says fall to me. Now, I know there's been like some debate on this platform about doing these types of videos anyway. Some people almost get like annoyed with it because they'll say things like, well, I wear whatever I want, whenever I want. I don't even understand what it means to have a seasonal type palette. And, you know, I guess what I would say to those folks is then just don't film these kinds of videos, right? If you're not into this, if you think this is silly, then just don't do it. But I do think it's really fun. Now, what a fall color story is to me are like the earthier, grungier tones, like the browns, cool and warm tone browns, darker greens, burgundies, maybe some purples in there, but also like the vibrancy of the fall leaves, like the golds and the rusts and the oranges and reds. So just kind of a combination of those types of colors in a palette. I think those are really fun to, base a fall themed look on. Sure. And, like I said, not all of us do that, but some of us do. So let's just geek out over some eyeshadow palettes together, okay? I'd love to do that. I could do that all day long, every single day. So what I've done is I've grabbed 20 palettes out of my collection, and I'm gonna share these with you and tell you why I think they're perfect for the fall. In the comment section, I would love for you to tell me if you happen to have any of these palettes, what you think of them, if you do think they're perfect for fall, or maybe if there's another season that you think they're even better for, let me know about that in the comment section. And also, I would love to know what other palettes you have in your collection that you think are perfect for fall. So I'm just gonna start at random showing you guys these palettes. They're not ranked. I was gonna do that, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that. So I'm just going to start grabbing palettes and showing them to you. I do think that some of these palettes, if not a lot of these palettes, I've already shown in past fall color story or palette videos, but who cares, right? I just love to talk about eyeshadows. So I'm going to start off with this palette here. This is the Lena Lashes Be palette. And I've had this in my collection for a couple of years now, maybe 3 years, 2.5, something like that. And I don't honestly even know if this brand is still around. I don't really see the brand owner posting anything on Instagram like I used to. And honestly, I haven't been on their website for quite some time, but I just think this is such a cool packaged palette. Isn't that gorgeous? And I love that it's like thicker, it's a little bit on the bulky side, but that doesn't bother me. And I love how you can hold on to this and then you just lift up the lid of the palette. I usually do that the opposite way and then almost drop it on the floor. But it's arranged like a honeycomb. Isn't that cool? Really interesting array of the shades. Let me turn off my bell on my other phone. Hold on. That was my husband. He was on a break, I guess, or something. Anyway, he's so sweet. So the thing that I think is the most fall-esque about this palette are the oranges, the golds, the kind of rusty reds. You know, this might not necessarily be a true fall color, but even the green, I think, it's a darker, more earthy green. And I just love how the shades in here perform. And this is something I have not used in a very long time. And I'm really thinking about either doing a multiple looks video with it, of course, or pulling it into a Throwback Thursday. I'm also thinking down the road, what I'll do is do like 2 looks for my Throwback Thursday videos. Because, you know, as I get into my bigger palettes, I think it makes more sense to do that. But this just, the color story in here definitely reminds me of like when the leaves start to change in the fall, for sure. Gorgeous palette. The next one, let me put this over here. There we go. Then, because I'm going to have a huge mess of palettes in here. I always do. When I do videos like this, I have this big, huge explosion of eyeshadow palettes in this room. It's kind of funny. The next one is the NYX Ultimate Utopia palette. And I got this at Target a long time ago. And this is another palette that I really want to use for like a multiple looks or like a 2 or 3 look Throwback Thursday type video. But there are so many beautiful tones in here. And I do think that a lot of them are very fall-esque. We've got like the warm tones, the browns, the burgundies, kind of purpley mauves. And then we've also got like the sage green, few sage green shades, like the couple of the shimmers and then the matte. And then even these 2 shades, they're brighter, but I still think you can have bright shades for the fall. The golds and the bright greens, and even the bright oranges. And I love the fact that, did I say this yet? I might have. I'm going to repeat myself if I did, obviously. I like that there are warm tones and cool tones in here. And you're going to hear people tell you not to mix warm and cool tones. And I think that's silly. I think you can do whatever you want with your eyeshadows, whatever you want. And I really enjoy mixing warm and cool tones together. I just think that's fun. And just, you know, all these cool options in here. And I really think this palette performs very well. It's been a while since I've used it, but I do think it performs really well. And from what I remember, I think I did get it on sale, but it was pretty affordable. I have no idea if this palette is still available, but if it is, you know, I would recommend picking it up. Then I also felt like the Melt Amor y Mariposas palette would be perfect for the fall. I love that there's an anatomical heart on the front, and this was gifted to me from Andy. Andy does stuff. And, you know, my mom passed away, and we're convinced, my whole family and I were convinced that my mom's a butterfly, and we used to call, my kids used to call her Mimi. So this is my Andy Mimi palette, and it's very special in my collection. It always will be. And I think that down here, more so than maybe up here, definitely says fall, because you've got the rich reds and oranges and purples that I do think you see quite often as the leaves start to change in the fall. And, you know, there is still some green around, especially as it, like, you know, turning from summer into fall. So maybe like up here is more that time of year. But this palette is truly gorgeous. I really enjoy it. And it's been a while since I played with it. I know I'm going to say that a lot probably in this video. But it's a palette that I just think is so versatile. You've got so many different options in here and just beautiful. There's depth, there's light, there's vibrancy, there's like the grunginess too. I just think it says fall, truly. Now, I've talked about pulling this into a fall themed video, the Naked Honey from Urban Decay, but I don't know that I ever have. I might have. Did I the last time? I think I might have the last time. But I just think the golds and the browns in here, almost verging on, like, the golds kind of almost verge on like a rusty orangey sort of. But I definitely think that these colors are present in the fall, at least here in Oregon where I live. And I feel like fall looks pretty similarly across the country. Am I just being really ignorant? But I do think the browns, mustards, golds, orangey golds definitely fit for the fall. And I have a lot of fun when I play with this palette. I did pull this into a Throwback Thursday, and I just love these shades. And this does need a lot more love in my collection. I really think that pretty soon I'm going to be doing a pretty, maybe not ruthless declutter, but I think I'm going to start decluttering some of my palettes, which is not easy for me to even wrap my head around, but I'm thinking about it. It's a slow think here. I know that it's monochromatic. I know that monochromatic palettes aren't everybody's jam, but really impressed with how this performs. And you know, it shocks me sometimes with how well this performs and the fact that I don't have any other Urban Decay palettes in my collection. Not that I need any more palettes. Okay. Then I also thought the Nomad America's Parks palette would be perfect for this because of the oranges, golds, and browns, and also the greens. Like this is another one of those palettes I think is like summer fading into fall, you know, because you still have the greens going on outside. And I did do a 2 looks video with this. I've done a few looks with this on my channel before and have always been thoroughly impressed by the way everything in here performs. I think I have used all the shades in here now. Just stunning. And I like the fact that you've got the, you know, the greens, but then like these oranges, like really terracottas, and the golds, kind of mustardy stuff going on, and then like more cooler tone shades as well. Beautiful shade combination. I definitely think it says America's Parks, and it does say fall to me. Yes. Now this is a newer palette in my collection. I've only used it once. Well, technically I've used it twice. This is the What's Up Beauty Dragon Eye palette, or affectionately known as my Dawn palette, because my really good friend and subscriber Dawn, she let me know that this was restocking or being re-released. So we both got it at the same time, and I've been checking out this palette for a while. I just think it's gorgeous. And you've got like the more like neutral fall-esque mattes, but then these beautiful pops of color. And I do think that that symbolizes fall, you know, kind of the earthier, maybe muted tones, but then you've got these pops that just jump out at you from time to time in the fall. And this shade right here called Fire is so gorgeous. It's very flippy. I don't know how well you can see it in the, but see, it's kind of like this color here right now, but then it turns that bright gold, or yeah, bright gold. Yes, bright gold. And all of the shimmers in here, I would say, are pretty duochrome, pretty flippy. I've only used it the one, well, I tried to film a video with it, didn't turn out, not that the look didn't turn out, I didn't turn out. It's dealing with too much stuff in my life. And then obviously was able to film with it, and I just love it. I love it. I wasn't too sure how I felt about the combination of the matte tones with the shimmers, but hey man, it works. And I think it does say fall. I mean, maybe a little spring in here too, but whatever. I also thought the Unearthly Not Normal palette would be good for fall because it's got the depth in here and kind of the grungy stuff. Even though there's purpley, kind of purpley browns, I still think that that's very fall-esque. And, you know, even this green, again, another one of those summer fading into fall palettes. But you've got the earthy grunginess that I do think you see commonly in the fall. And I will say, though, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this palette because I've only used it once. I did a collab with Leanna Dalton, which was really fun. We talked about the reasons why we're not normal. It was awesome. But the shimmers in here kind of threw me for a loop a little bit because they're not, I don't think they're the same formula as the shimmers in the Strawberry Milkshake palette by Unearthly. And those shimmers, I have the palette, the Strawberry Milkshake palette, and those shimmers just blew me away. These are a little bit more airy, a little bit more ethereal, I guess I would say, than the shimmers in that other palette. But again, I struggle with using a tackier primer sometimes, and I think if I used a tackier primer with the shimmers, I'd probably like them better. The mattes work beautifully. I do think the color story is a little tricky for me in a sense. Like you can go more monochromatic, which I think that's kind of what I look at and think, oh, that's what I'll do, because I don't want to dirty or muddy up the shades. If you try to mix like the green and like these two shades together, I think I would turn that into a muddy mess, but it might be a muddy mess in the most beautiful way possible. You never know until you try it, right? So this will be coming probably in a Throwback Thursday video for sure. I also felt that the Mad Witch Cosmetics Chance palette would be perfect for the fall. This is my best friend and sister's brand. It's beautiful. And here we have the neutral mattes, but then the beautiful pops of color, especially this one here. This shade is so gorgeous. It's got that orange and gold and red kind of mysterious stuff going on. Now, you might look at this and think that a light pink and a light green and even this kind of teal green may not be appropriate for fall. Sure. But this part of the palette here, like the majority of the palette to me does say fall. This shade right here too is just so beautiful. It's got kind of like a black base, but then this really cool like green and like brown kind of shifty stuff. Oh, and it's very subtle, but it's also in the right lighting. It's just like, wow, so beautiful. And, again, we have the mix of cool and warm tones, which I think is really fun and really unique and different. And this performs so beautifully. And I know some of you are like, well, yeah, it's your sister's brand. What are you going to say? I'm telling you the truth. It's a gorgeous palette. I would not say it. I really would not say it if it wasn't, but I love it. Love it. I also felt like the Dirty Martini palette from Glam Light is good for fall because, of course, there are greens in here, but then you've got some of the like rustier tones, orangey tones, and grungier, earthier tones too, like with the browns and like the olivey greens and stuff. And like some of these shimmers have a really pretty like orange and gold flip to them. And I don't know, to me, it just looks very fall-y, fall-esque, fall-like, whatever, pick one, whatever you like the best and go with it. But I've really enjoyed playing with this. Haven't played with it in a while, but I'm going to be doing a cool thing, I think, here soon on my channel. I think I might even do it tomorrow. I don't know, but I'm going to be doing it soon. I'm not going to get, well, I've already kind of talked about it. But anyway, I'm hoping to get more use out of my palettes, and I'm hoping that this will get chosen to be pulled into that new little series I'm going to be doing. But a beautiful palette from Glam Light, absolutely. Another palette that I've always pulled, I think, in every episode I've done of fall palettes on my channel is the Nomad by Juvia's Place. This is my favorite palette from this brand because it's got the most incredible earthy, grungy, golds, mustards, oranges, olivey, browns color story. And I've always been such a huge fan of the Juvia's Place formula of the mattes and the shimmers. And, even though, I mean, obviously, I think, there are some similar tones in here. But the cool thing is that everything goes together so well. So you can use pretty much any combination of shades. Like you could do a palette bingo with this 50 times and come out with a gorgeous cohesive look because everything just jives together so well in here. And if this is not a fall color story, I don't know what is. Okay. Now I also grabbed the Lethal Cosmetics Evergreen palette. Now you might argue that this is not exactly a fall color story if I can open it, but I do think it's got the fall tones in here, the earthy, grungy, darker greens. I mean, yes, there's some brighter greens in here too, but I don't think that you have to just have earthy, grungy for a fall palette because there are bright colors still out and around. There's still flowers that bloom in the fall, and it doesn't just turn into an earthy, mucky, grungy wasteland in the fall here in Oregon anyway. So I just feel like even the blues in here, to me, like a fall sky has these deeper, darker blue shades. And I am telling you, this palette blew me away. This is the first time I'd ever tried anything from Lethal. And I do have another little singles little palette I put together on my own from their website, which is so fun. If you have not yet done that yet, even if you don't buy anything, you can just go and plop the shades into a little palette and then start over and read. You know how many times I've done that? And didn't buy anything except for the once, and also this palette too, of course, but really fun. And I just am such a huge fan of the Lethal formula. A little bit spendier, I will say, a little bit spendier palettes, but worth every penny as far as I'm concerned. This is coming in Throwback Thursday or multiple looks, I don't know yet. Then we have the Safari Rain palette from Colored Rain. And this is one of my favorite palettes in my collection from this just incredible very fall color story. Oranges, greens, darker browns, just a really good mix of mattes and shimmers. Beautiful tones in here. I have had so much fun playing with this palette. They did re-release this at one point, and I don't know if it's still available now or not. I have no idea. I haven't been on the Colored Rain website in a while. I'm trying to stay off websites that I love to go shop on or that have good sales, and Colored Rain has amazing sales on their eyeshadows and their lippies, and I've always been truly impressed and very wowed by Colored Rain as a brand. Just incredible. It's a Black-owned brand, and they just make stellar products, and this palette is not an exception, or no. How do you say that? It's wonderful and beautiful. I guess I should have just left it there. But I think this says fall. I think it's got all the goods for a fall color story for sure. I also grabbed the Plush Like Me from ColourPop. And, you know, this is more neutral, but it's got like the wines and burgundies that, oh, I have cat hair on here, that I think that you commonly see when the leaves are starting to change. You know, I will see a lot of reds and burgundies and stuff in the leaves here. And this, you know, well, is this really monochromatic? I don't know if it's monochromatic, but I do feel like all the shades in here work so well together. This is another palette that if you did a palette bingo with it a bajillion times, you could, no matter what shades you pulled together in the random generation aspect of the shades, you would grab shades that would all go together beautifully. And this is a really fun palette, really nicely formulated ColourPop palette. That's not always the case with ColourPop. Then I also grabbed the Artemis palette from Alter Ego. Now this is duping the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. And I don't think that this is the same quality. No, probably not. But it's still a lovely palette, and it's got the earthier, grungier, but yet bright, some vibrancy in here too. Like this definitely says to me fall trees, fall leaves, fall sky. There's just a good mix of fall in here. And I've done a couple videos with this. I need to do some more videos with it. Guess what this will be coming in? You probably already know. I don't need to say it again. I also grabbed the Jackie Aina palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And this is one of my favorite palettes in my collection, and it has been since I got it. It's just got such a lovely color story with lots of really beautiful options, but you've got the earthy grungy of fall. And then, you know, like this purple is a beautiful pop. And also this purple matte. And then you've also got like some kind of wine shades and like terracottas. This shade is gorgeous. I have to say, Dawalas, because it's my favorite shade out of the palette. And it's really fun to say. I know I've driven people nuts. I probably lost subscribers from saying Dawalas too many times, but you know, that's just the way it is. I'm really impressed with how this works. I think I picked this up off Ipsy. They had it on sale for like 25 bucks. And this is the first ABH palette I picked up, I'm pretty sure. And of course, it'll be coming in Throwback Thursday. Then I also thought that the Aurora palette from Alter Ego was good for a fall time type color story palette, whatever. Because this is what the sunset looks like in Oregon in the fall time. Pretty much every year. I mean, you just get the most beautiful sunsets here in the fall. And they're very red, orangey, wine, a little bit of like, this has a little bit of like a purpley shift to it. Mustardy, you know, these are just the colors that you see. More so, I would say like summer fading into fall too. But I just had to choose this, and this is gorgeous. I just pulled this into a Throwback Thursday not too long ago. I also grabbed the Goddess palette from Alter Ego. The Aurora palette is duping the Sunset palette from Natasha Denona. This is duping the Gold palette from Natasha Denona. And I love it. I love the tans and the mustardy stuff and the foresty greens and the golds. This definitely says fall to me, like the trees and the leaves and stuff in Oregon in the fall for sure. You're going to see all of these colors at like the park, at the forest, in the forest, at the forest, in the forest during the fall. And I'm pretty sure that Shani and I are going to do a collab with this. She has the gold palette, and of course I have this. So we thought it would be cool to collab her using like the original Natasha palette, and I'm going to use the dupe. That'll be fun. I just got to come up with some fun questions for us to answer, because I think we've answered almost anything you could think of to answer, but I'll figure it out. Then I also grabbed the Avocado Toast palette from BH Cosmetics. I just had this in my last, it was my last Throwback Thursday video. Love it. I love it. And this I think too would probably be the summer fading into fall, maybe a little bit, you know. But the green tones in here, all of them I think are very fall. And so are the shimmers, and so are the browns. The mattes and the shimmers say fall to me. I'm all over the map here. I am so impressed with how this palette performs. And the reason why I pulled it into that Throwback Thursday was because I wanted to show you that you can use like neutral mattes with pops of color. And we have the greens in here, which I felt worked really well for that episode. Kind of get people over their fear of color, if I could possibly do that. I don't know that I did that. But thoroughly impressed with how this palette performs. And this really makes me miss the BH of old, because The BH of new just is not that exciting. Take a drink of my water. Jan Van got me this for my 50th birthday, and it's this lovely quote about turning 50, and I can't read it to you because I'll cry, and I'm trying not to cry because I've been crying so much lately over just the goofiest stuff. I don't know, my hormones or something's all over the place. 2 more palettes. The next one is the Earthy palette from Beauty Bay. This is the 42 Pan Earthy palette. It's enormous, but I mean, hello, look at all the fall tones in here. Even the greens, man. Even the greens, baby. We still got greens in the fall. Maybe not as much, but we still have some here in Oregon. But like down here definitely says fall to me with the oranges, the reds, the red tones, the browns, golds. But again, greens also are commonly seen here in Oregon in the fall as well. And I just think this works so well. It's so gorgeous. I did a 4 looks palette bingo style video with this. God, that was fun. I might do that again. That was really interesting. Really fun to put like different, like the greens and the reds and stuff together. That was fun. And then the last palette I have here is the Be Perfect Start over. Be Perfect Cosmetics Carnival, the Antidote palette with Stacey Marie. These palettes have the longest titles. I think we could have done with less words, folks. Maybe not, but just my opinion. And I think this whole color story says fall because you've got like the leaf colors here, even over here, and then the darker greens. And I just pulled a couple shades in. Oh no, that video hasn't come up yet. Never mind. Zip it. Wait till Friday. I have a video coming up. And this part of this palette, some of this, couple shades out of this palette might have been used in that video. Now, I got this palette because Ash Makeup and Chaos, they had used this palette on their channel a few times and created the most beautiful looks. And I'm pretty sure Ash reached out to me when it went on sale, and they're like, dude, the palette's on sale. Because I'd been going, should I get it? I don't know. It's kind of expensive. Should I get it? And Ash is like, it's so good. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. And then they said, it's on sale. So I went and got it. And I'm so thrilled that I did. I have done a 3 looks video with this before on my channel. Used a couple shades out of it for a future video. You guys are going to lose your minds, I think, over that video. I really do think that. It's a collab with 3 other people. I might have already given you a little hint as to who one of them is. It's going to be so fun. Anyway, back to this palette. I definitely think it says fall. It's beautiful. It's got tons of wonderful options in here. And the Be Perfect palettes that I own, this one and the Love Tahiti Carnival 3, Stacey Marie. See what I mean? Longest titles of a palette ever. The shades work so good. I'm so happy that I tried Be Perfect. They have more palettes too, don't they? Okay, I'm sitting here telling you, I think I said this right, that I'm going to be doing a declutter soon. And now I'm talking to you about getting more palettes. No, I'm not doing it. So anyway, those were the 20 palettes I felt were perfect for fall out of my collection. I could have pulled more out, but I felt like 20 was enough. Let me know, like I said, if you have any of these palettes, what you think of them, if you think they're good for fall. And also, please let me know what else you enjoy using for fall as well. And, you know, I know that this can be kind of a polarizing topic. So bizarre to me, the things that people get stirred up about on the beauty space, in the beauty space. It's like, it's just for fun. That's it. But I just thought it would be fun to show you guys what I think is great for fall, what I see around me in Oregon in the fall time. I hope you really enjoyed this. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your lives to sit down and watch this video. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, smash the like button, and of course, comment down below in the comment section. I'd love to chat with you guys there. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I cannot wait to see you guys again in my next video. But in the meantime, please take very good care of yourself. Be well, safe, happy, and of course, I will see you soon. Bye.
Drop it.